Take me back to, well, day one. How did you get started in art?
Well, day one began many, many years ago. When I was about 11 years old, my father took me to visit one of my relatives who was painting an oil painting at the time. And from that point on, I never wondered like what I wanted to be when I grew up. I always wanted to be an artist when I grew up. And eventually I became that.
And what turned you on to dance? I mean, how were you exposed to it?
Well, my mother loved modern dance. Actually, my very first dance teacher was a modern dancer. She was an ex-company member of the Martha Graham Dance Company, and she had opened up a studio in Brooklyn, really close to where we lived. So I started taking modern dance classes when I was 3 years old. You know, we were just a household that really appreciated the arts.
How'd you get started?
When I was really young, my dad always told me, hey, you're good at this. Don't give up and keep on going with it. And let's see where it takes you. So even from the ages of 15 to now, I always constantly practice different styles and different ways of drawing and painting.
My father loved symphony music, and so he exposed me to a lot of great music. And I think, you know, that sound was in my ears. And my mother recognized that I had a musical gifting and a passion, and she just got behind me. She saw something in me, and she invested. She went out, got a part-time job so that I could get a better violin. On Saturdays, she would drive me to Delaware, which was 2 hours from our home, every single week for violin lessons. I think even without knowing it, whatever we're surrounding our children with becomes the atmosphere that they absorb and they gravitate towards. Kalamazoo does such a good job at that. They've got this fantastic connection between education and music, and they're bringing the children in, and they're investing in the community, and that just really influences them. It makes a difference, and there's a richness there in their lives because of it. And so I just think the community has a responsibility there.
When I was young, I had a stuttering problem. I had a speech impediment for many years. So music was kind of my go-to. It was a place where I could go and kind of get into my own space and my own thoughts, and I could write, and I could play my songs for others, which was very cathartic. And it was the one thing I got a lot of positive feedback on that I could do. So music has been my touchstone.
So tell me first how you even became involved in dance. Either one can go first.
I apparently begged my mother to enroll me in dance classes when I was about 5 and 6 years old. And she finally was like, I wore her down by age 7. So at age 7, I started dancing at a dance studio in my hometown, which is in Northeast Ohio. Dover, Ohio is where I was born and raised. So I danced there. I studied the Cicchetti method of ballet. I did jazz and modern. I got very involved in musical theater.
Now, what about you, Marissa?
So my dance career started also at a very young age. I was apparently dancing and running around in the grocery aisles. My mom then had a family friend who said, well, I have a dance studio, send Marissa to me. So I started dancing. So it's been very interesting to see my own artistry and my own voice grow throughout this process and through my many different instructors and coaches and professors and mentors. It's been a really fulfilling experience. And now being in more of an educational standpoint too, in the Dance Academy coordinator role, it's really nice seeing how I can then lead that charge as to what our classrooms are instilling for our dancers, so that I feel like they are getting the dance education that is needed for youth and adults in today's day and age.
Did you grow up with artists in your family? Did your parents encourage you when you were growing up?
I think it all started in church, like I was a fidgety kid. So my mom and dad gave me like a pencil or paper, and I would draw whatever kids do. And then afterwards, you always get the feedback of like, it was awesome what I was doing. So I just kept getting better and better. It seemed to make everybody smile. And I guess that's my goal now, to, kind of bring people into like my creative bubble and peace, and like even here tonight, seeing all like the smile and the people are enjoying it.
But you do something with kids as well, which I think is really cool. You love to teach kids art. And how important is it that children are exposed to art? And how important was it for you?
Well, I say there's like two things with with kids and art. You know, like it's great to like kind of stimulate like the creative, you know, the creative energy in them. But you know, like I thought it was like kind of a privilege to be able to go down to Vicksburg and teach those kids. So I would say also what enriches kids' lives is like having a diverse population of teachers, or diverse, you know, like just getting just different perspectives and different ways. You know, like I don't know if, like we painted a tiger and we painted an owl.
Yeah.
And the kids, like I've never taught a class 25 minutes, but at the end of the class, like all the kids had a tiger.
And they looked good.
Yeah, they looked
they
good.
all looked different, but they all looked good. That's what was like so amazing. How do you do that to a kid that's never drawn before?
I just kind of went through like steps and like gave them a couple of shapes to paint, and I was surprised with my ability to like tell them how to create it, and their parents were really impressed once they saw.
Yes, I bet.
Once they picked up like actual tigers.
Maybe you had somebody that believed in you even more than what you believed in yourself at that time.
Yeah, I would say like my mom, and then I have a local person too. But you know, like I always would be like creating or drawing or something, and then like I think one day my mom went to an estate sale, and like normally you go to Hobby Lobby and like it's like $5 for a tube of paint.
Yeah.
My mom got the whole rack, like the whole like rotunda, for like $5. So I had like everything I needed to, you know, to paint to start off with. But prior to that, you know, I was trying to use like oil pastels to paint to get color involved, like transition from just graphite to like some color.
And back to that little Emmy, were you curious as a kid? Did you draw? Were you brought up in an artistic family?
Yeah, my parents were very observant and just saw that that's who I was. And my dad, I remember, got me like a typewriter, his old like electric typewriter. And he was like, I see that you're writing, and just kind of like slid it on the table and, you know, encouraged me to tell stories. And they were always open for being my audience, and saw that I was making a lot of art and drawing, and got me like this really beautiful like pencil set. And I still have the first like fancy pencil sharpener that my parents got me. And you know, I just was really supported to just be creative, and we lived in the middle of the woods, and I was always outside and writing, and it's always, so they've been really truly supportive.
Do you remember a moment when you perhaps got permission, got a green light to move forward with this dream and passion of yours?
I mean, I feel like there are several along the way that felt like, oh, this is something I can really do. Like, it's, you know, I love books. There are people making them. How does that happen kind of moment? So my 5th and 6th grade teacher was just, her focus on literacy in the classroom was just life-changing for me. Like the books that we were reading, the space that we were working in to make our own stories. I still have 2 of the anthologies on my shelf that I wrote in 5th and 6th grade that just like live here with me from her class. And it was just so inspired to be like, oh, this is something that you can really do. And she, and there was a opportunity to publish a poem I wrote about kindergarten. And it was this national anthology, and she encouraged me to submit. And as a 6th grader, I was like, oh, okay, I just don't know. But like, that moment of submitting and finding out that mine was going to be published in this book, and then we got the copy, and like holding that book in my hands as a 6th grader and knowing that I contributed a poem to it was like the most magical feeling. And I was like, oh, I need to do this a lot more. I want to do this my whole life. So that was like maybe one of the first green lights.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.